Looks like we got some familiar faces here. Equalizer, Cartel, Logan, Evie, Captain Planet, the Baroness. I see some other faces. I don't recognize you guys, but thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here. Welcome, welcome. Good to see everybody. Thanks for stopping in on the holiday or pre-holiday. Appreciate everybody. Give us just a few minutes to get everybody up here and we'll get rolling for everyone. But how's everybody feeling? We had a nice pump this week, holding up good levels at 442 currently. Get around the hundreds for that. Let's go. Good to see everybody. Happy to be here. It's been an exciting week. And if everybody appreciate it.
Oh, and I remember Star-Lord's going to be joining us tonight.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
He said he was off work tonight. So coming at later.
And anybody else too, you know, we do have kind of a formal structure here, but you know, it's a 2-hour thing. We might cut it down to an hour depending on, you know, participation and whatnot. But if anybody has anything at all, you know, that you want to talk about or ask questions, please feel free. Like that's what we're here for. We want to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would add to that we love a good story too. So if you have any good stories from family or friends that experienced the pump today that you want to share, some good stuff, love to hear it. I want to hear some new voices.
Absolutely. And yeah, we're happy to answer any questions. So, you know, shoot us anything. That's what we're here for. But we can get it rolling. So just a quick introduction. Pepe Salon. I'm one of the co-hosts. Just here to help out. We're part of the VGX Hero education team. We throw together kind of topics that we think are good or relative to the week. But we'd love to get more feedback on questions or anything. So definitely request. We see you, JDW. Give us just a sec, and we'll get to you, my friend. But we'll start it off with Michael. How are you today, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to a nice little Thanksgiving holiday here and break and time with the family. But I know everybody else is too. So we'll see how tonight goes. We're planning on doing an hour instead of 2. But if there's enough participation and engagement, we're happy to stay longer. But we just want to make sure that everybody gets out to their Friendsgiving. I think Isn't tonight the single largest alcohol consumption night of the year, if I remember correctly? So
yes, sir.
I would hate to keep people from their drinks.
I thought that was every night.
And
no.
And it shows.
Oh.
But yeah, you can go ahead, Floki. How are you this night, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm just happy to be here with my people. It's been a great past couple of days, and yeah, excited to hear some new voices, and let's get it rolling.
Absolutely. Franky, my guy.
Hey guys, Franky here. I'm gonna say my piece because I've been starting the drinking for a good couple hours now, but I do the current events, and yeah, that's about it. I'll keep it short and sweet.
Love it. What's going on, StoneCold?
What's up, everyone? StoneCold here. Cover all the VGX Voyager stock numbers, anything related to the tokenomics. Tonight we are drinking some Abasolo El Whiskey de Mexico. So good times.
Love it. Aragorn, my friend. Aragorn.
It's okay. Thank you. Actually, not many correct themselves there. Different characters, actually. So there, Michael, as well, you get a little education there for free. But yeah, I'm just here taking timestamps for tonight, help out Crypto Airborne. So if you haven't subscribed to him, there's your plug, Crypto Airborne. And yeah, just working on some things behind the scenes, education wise, and Discord, but just plugging away.
Love it. Love it. All right, JDW, I'm bringing you up. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you all doing?
Great, my friend. What you got for us?
Just wanted to say I'm the Voyager Facebook group, one of the moderators on there. Great to be a part of the VGX Heroes. Phenomenal community. Great wealth of information. So thank you all. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for
It's nice
stopping
to
by.
hear
Good
your
to see you, my
voice.
friend.
It's nice to hear your voice, Toad. For real.
Oh, lovely.
What's up, man?
Yes, glad to be here. Plus, one quick thing. I was on here a few weeks ago when Steve popped in, and that was just life-changing to me to hear him being a part of your community. Phenomenal. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. One night he actually stopped in, and he was over in Europe, and it was like 3 a.m. and he stayed in here for 2 hours, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Just it was basically a big AMA. So he really is that guy.
That was London, and that's amazing. That's when I spoke to him for my first time, and all got to ask him questions. So really life-changing to hear that. And that's why we love Voyager.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, the guy is a grinder. He loves it, and we all believe in him, no doubt. But yeah, good to hear your voice, and appreciate you stopping in, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Love it.
Good to hear you, Toad. This is Sun Tzu, if you didn't know. Kind of the man behind the mask here. I know we spoke a bunch of times, but I've never actually talked to you here, so it's good to have you.
Me too. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, but off that, StoneCold, and I saw you got some interesting numbers this week. So if you could, go over those for us real quick.
Yeah, let's start off with the rewards payout that was released with the last quarterly report. So Voyager, it was $49.8 million that were paid out in rewards. So that's going to be your interest on all your tokens. And then we also had the first month of the VLP go into effect. So that's what that 49.8 million consisted of. And I didn't really think anything of that until I was at the gym, and I'm a cheap bastard. So I listen to YouTube and have to go through ads in between each song. And there was an ad for Coinbase that came up, and it was bragging about how they've paid out 500 million in Coinbase Earn rewards. And I was like, okay. And they said, I looked it up a little bit, and it said over the lifespan of 3 years. So I said, wait a minute, they have 68 million users. That should be a lot more than 500 million. So I was looking to compare the numbers, and it comes out. So we're comparing Coinbase over 3 years versus Voyager's last quarter, which is going to be 3 months. Coinbase paid out $7.35 per an account. Voyager paid out $50 per an account. So, and that's just one quarter. So, I mean, the 500 million to 50 million, that's definitely a little difference there, but that's also a 3-year span versus a 3-month span. So I thought that was pretty eye-opening. I didn't know if you guys had any comments about how that's a pretty big margin, $50 to $7.35. If you got friends, you need to give them that number and bring them over.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Well, so a question as far as the budget goes, more or less, because the money's got to come from somewhere, right? Like how is each company different in how they spend it, more or less? Or basically, how is their revenue stream different than Coinbase then?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone on the panel can speak to maybe what's Coinbase has reported in their earnings reports. I know Voyager, so a lot of the interest that you earned is, they have staking now, and they also have third-party companies that they're loaning it out to. And instead of keeping, 90-95% like the banks do, they're giving that to their users. And then we also have the growth pool that was $40 million when the VLP was initiated, that we have our VLP reward. So that's going to be your VGX cashback, your VGX interest that you receive, your refer a friend. So that's where that would come from.
Yeah, but that number was just absurd reading it. And like for having 70 million users to only give 500 million compared to Voyager at 1 million to 50 million, it's just absurd ratio.
A great starting point for the Thanksgiving pitch. guys. Remember those numbers.
Yeah, very true. And it's about as good chance to, have the talk with a full group, because it's a tough conversation. Like some people can see, that maybe you show them your gains or things like that, or, they know you're into it and they're like, okay, I'm interested, but no, I don't want to do it. Like, that's cool that you're in it, but no, I that's not for me. So it's just repetition and getting it in people's heads.
But can we go around the horn real quick on that topic and just see how everyone is going to handle Thanksgiving? Is that a conversation that's going to come up? Is it already expected? If that's a fair question.
Yeah, no, I'm going to start off with, the debit card. It's the ease of entry now. So, hey, Voyager, their wait list is open for their debit card. You're going to earn 9% on USDC. If you get in their loyalty program, you get up to 10.5% USDC. That's just your debit bank account getting that much payment. So it's almost like a no-brainer, and just kind of talk like it's going to have a routing number and, talk about the team. And it's not just Bitcoin. Like the interest is crazy, and just all the different things you can do. So it's kind of my answer. If somebody else wants to take it away.
Yeah, for me, what I've been experiencing lately is a lot of people who are just new to investing in general. And so what I like to do first of all is just get them to download the app. That's, once it's on your phone, it's there. And, some people might be hesitant to create the account and put in their bank info, but then you can tell them, okay, hey, this is a publicly traded company. It's just like Google or Apple or any of those other ones. They've got a track record. Explain the team, kind of ease their mind. You're not just giving your bank account to some random sketchy person. And then once they've got the app, just open it up on your phone. You can both have it open. Just kind of walk them through. It's like, okay, you can see everything here. This is all the different coins. This is, kind of explain it like stocks if it's, makes that connection for them. And then, you go down that road a little, and if they seem interested, at that point, I'll kind of say, well, if you're not looking to really risk much, what you can do is put $100 in USDC and treat it like a savings account. And if you do that, you're going to get $25 free in Bitcoin. And what you do with that from there, whether you just let it sit for however long or sell it just to get $25 and whatever you want to do, at least they're engaging with the app now. You've explained it to them, and you can kind of go from there. And then I like Pepe's idea with the debit card too, and kind of explaining it as a new type of bank almost, because all crypto aside, you could use it just as that. It's just a high yield savings account with a debit card. So that's my kind of entry even before getting into the crypto aspect.
Yeah, that was great. Floki?
Yeah, that was really good. I'm going to try to keep it short here. It beats the bank, right? That's really the enemy here is the bank. So I would lead with that. And I would consider just buying that $100 with them if you can afford it. That really worked for me during Passover, I believe. And yeah, sometimes that's just what it takes. You pull your phone up, look, I'm going to buy $100 worth of USDC or VGX or Bitcoin. And then they see how easy it is. And I got a couple of folks that way. So I'm going to keep it short.
Yeah, that's good. I definitely have been contemplating about how to get all my family members to be like, hey, I'll sign you up. I'll put $100 in. I don't care. Just like, but I would say other family members, whatever, I'm all about educating people. I love giving people information and letting them kind of walk themselves down it, because that's ultimately the most empowering thing long term, is a person feeling ownership of them making the decision to actually invest. And so I love the resource channel. You know, the Michael and I are working on those PDFs and things, because basically all I need is a person's email, phone number, whatever, and I'll just text them those PDFs and be like, hey, you've probably never had anyone actually walk you through how to get started in crypto. I'll literally send you this thing that walks you through. You can learn on your own pace. You don't have to go digging all over YouTube and trying to filter through what's junk and what's not. So yeah, I basically just send them information first, and then have a follow-up process. I give it usually 1 or 2 weeks, and then I send a follow-up.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because someone at work was asking me today. You know, he downloaded the app, and he's, you know, sitting next to me, and as I'm explaining it, he was like, "Dude, you should have a YouTube channel." And I was like, "Well, I don't know about all that." He's like, "No, like you just know so much about this." And for me, it just comes second nature. You know, I've been in it for a few years, so I've got that knowledge, but I forget sometimes that some people just, like, it's such a new thing to them, a new concept, that they're just starting from the beginning. So I think pointing them in the direction of those valid resources is definitely important.
Well, knowing so much about it might disqualify you from having a YouTube channel now. I kid. Yeah, I did that for you, Airborne. I see you down there. I'm just kidding.
You'll have to excuse me, guys. I'm tired. I have a second thought as well. If you do get to the point where they download the app, at least favorite USDC, VGX, Bitcoin, and I would even throw in Ethereum, the core ones. So use that favorite feature. And maybe that'll spark the curiosity to get educated.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Because let's be real. I mean, when they're scrolling through the 60 or whatever, that was daunting. First time that I did it, I was like, "Good Lord!" And you see all the moving numbers. It's just way too much for a new person.
Yeah, I also think part of the thing too is that whatever gets everybody's attention into the space is going to be different, and everybody comes in from a different kind of reference point. But a lot of people see other people making crazy gains, or they get that FOMO in. Not everybody comes into it with an understanding of why the space exists, what the differences are between the space. They don't understand the tribalism, the toxicity, the different communities, the different purposes of the different tokens. They don't get any of that. So just a kind of a binary level of understanding of why the sovereign digital asset space even exists, what I've found to be the most effective just kind of visual tool is just that website that I've referred to before, which is W2F happened in 1971.com. And it's just something simple enough to just kind of show, like, on graphs, all the different things that have changed since 1971, since they left like a hard money standard. And without even getting into the minutia of getting them to understand anything more than that, just getting them to understand like the graphical difference of how these different parts of everyone's life that they do understand have changed since 1971 has been pretty impactful. And then that just kind of wets their whistle and gets them interested somewhat into the space. And they can learn all the different idiosyncrasies between the coins later and figure out which tribe is theirs. But just a basic understanding, if you can get them off of the USDC pitch, like if they're just bank savers and the USDC pitch is the easiest, most harmless way of getting them in the door, then by all means, that's step one. But if step two is digital assets, or step 1A is like actual digital assets that have convexity that aren't just stable coins, and getting them to understand why, I found that to be an incredibly effective tool for the why. And you don't have to be a bookworm or a nerd or really want to go too deep to just look at a graph and go, oh, wow, a whole bunch of shit changed in 1971. What might have been the catalyst?
Very good points. Very good points.
Anybody else from the audience? You guys have anything to share? Things that have worked for you or ideas you might have?
So my nephew just turned 18, and my wife gave him $50 for his birthday, and I was talking to him, asking about if he's into crypto or anything. He said, no one's shown me anything. I don't know what to do. So I sent him $100. I said, download Voyager, deposit your $100, and we'll walk you through it. So it's a nice idea whenever you have a family member has a birthday coming along. I know the withdrawal fees might prohibit you sending them PGX, but If you just send them the $100 and walk them through the process, it just gets them on board that much easier.
Yeah, I think once we can direct pay people within the Voyager ecosystem without the fees, it'll increase like the proliferation of our referrals so much more easily. To say, open it, I'll send you $10 in VGX right now or something along those lines. So I think once we have that ability to just direct customer to customer transfer without the crazy fees, that would be, I think, a huge catalyst towards that.
Indeed. But General Patton, I see you hopped up here. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing good. Saw VGX was just climbing. It was sitting at like 460 just a minute ago, I think, which is nice because it's been struggling to get through that like 450 today. So hopefully it can continue.
It bounced off it pretty hard. We're back to 450. Yeah, right below 450.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get a nice continuation here, maybe tonight. But hey, do any of you guys know anything about 529 accounts? No,
I
don't understand. I don't know
no,
what that is.
Pepe's probably on a 529. He's so young.
Yeah, so a 529 account, guys, is it's basically a college savings, investment that's regulated by the government. It's called a 529. The investment options in it are like mutual funds. It's very limited. The fees, you have to buy them through like a broker. I used Oppenheimer to get in the one that I got in 20 years ago almost for my nephew, and they're awful. They're absolutely terrible. It's a way to save for a family member, a young child, so they have money when they get to college. But like the banks are the ones that really win because the fees every year are just egregious. You can't really trade around, into different like mutual funds or sectors within the 529. So it's really limited. And my idea is this, and I just wanted to see kind of what you guys all thought. But so with the 529 account, you really don't want anything that like generates interest where you're going to have to, pay the government. So like if there was a way on the app to have like within your account to add, different relatives, whether it's a niece or a nephew or, a son or a daughter, and have their name. And then like you can just buy different assets, but it's only a buy feature. There's no transfers, there's no sells, and you're just buying it, and you're buying it for, 10 or 20 years. You might start it when the kid's, a month old. But you're just, it basically a crypto 529 that you don't really have any ability to sell or transfer or gain any interest on just for tax reasons because it's a savings for a child. I think that would be huge. It would really disrupt the way like college savings and 529s are done, today. I just didn't know if any of you guys really were familiar with 529s. If anybody had any comments.
So I'm not a fan of 529s personally for a lot of the reasons that you listed. Plus, having been self-employed and entrepreneur, it was never really a conducive use of my funds. I would trust myself to save for my kids more than I would really want to participate in something like that. But there's something for everybody. They absolutely weren't for me. But I think that what you're alluding to would be a tremendous idea, but there's a huge obstacle of even just custodial accounts in the crypto space that I think we need to get past first. And I think it would be a tremendous idea. I think it'd be a huge product for somebody to put out there. But even across the board, across anybody in the space, there's nobody even really offering a custodial account. Even just there's not even spousal accounts really with joint rights of survivorship yet. So there's so much of that TradFi world that still needs to make its way into the ecosystem. And I think that custodial children accounts probably would be somewhere maybe second or third down the list after some sort of like beneficiaries and some spousal accounts. But I think that the idea would be a tremendous one, especially to like once you have just the basics of custodial accounts and joint accounts and all that, to have something like what you're alluding to where they would have the ability to buy only and just kind of that forced savings, but in this sector, I think would be tremendous. I just don't know. I don't know where the obstacles lie that have made it such a non-feature so far across the industry. I don't know if it's three-letter agencies, if it's regulatory, if it's because it's decentralized, or what exactly the holdup is, but it's clearly a holdup that is afflicted across all of the different exchanges out there.
Right. Yeah. Nobody's offering it. It's that damn Gary Gensler.
Yep.
I see we got a few new people here. Again, if you're just joining us, if you could do us a favor, hit that bottom right tweet feather and just share out the space so people know we're out here. And if anyone has anything that you want to talk about, feel free to hop up.
Yeah, so StoneCold also saw you tweeted today about some marketing coins getting moved around in the wallet. We kind of want to get into that.
Yeah, so I didn't even tweet that out yet. So you guys are getting breaking news, so we can kind of discuss what we think the plan is for those. But when I was kind of doing my random checks of the staking pool, we had been at like 186 million that were being staked. And when I checked today, it was down to like high 84 or 185. So it had gone down. I looked at the analytics on Etherscan, and it had gone down like 1.5 million tokens over the last week. So I figured, I guess that's just people taking profits. I started looking at some of the unstaking transactions, and one really stood out. It was for 700,000 tokens. And I kind of followed the wallet, and it was combined with another 200,000 tokens, which was then sent to a Binance 14 wallet, which is one of the wallets that Voyager owns. And I went back to look at the intermediary wallet that it transferred from the unstaking before it went to Binance 14. And it had a lot of the same transactions to Binance 14, but the highest one was like barely over 100,000. And this one is, 8 times that amount. So that stood out. I was going back to look at a couple more transactions, not saying anything is going to happen, but the last time there was an amount that was that high, it was about 700,000 that was transferred to the FTX exchange from a Binance 14 wallet. And that was the day of the Mavericks Voyager partnership announcement. So I started having a little brain cells, little synapses firing, thinking about what it could be. But it could be just liquidity for, maybe because Coinbase, the volume's been off the charts, if it has something to do with that. I don't know. What do you guys think on the panel or anyone in the audience?
I mean, Digital Asset News, he's still teasing us with more big news coming soon. So whatever that could be, he's been, teasing for so long. But I'm still thinking on it. So if somebody else wants to give an answer.
I don't know. I do know that big news tends to follow long periods of just complete silence and blackouts, and I feel like we're in another one of those right now. So I don't know what it could be, but it lines up with the conspiracy theories that every time they go quiet, they drop a bomb.
Very true.
Yeah, my phone will not be on silent tomorrow, I'll tell you that.
Don't tease me with a Thanksgiving Day football Voyager commercial. Don't tease me.
Oh, wait.
Save it for Black Friday.
Do you think they might drop something over the weekend?
And they're paying for something, and it's a good bit of money. So we'll see.
I mean, historically, a lot of the news doesn't break over the weekend. So I don't know if Black Friday, that seems like a day when you have a lot of people that are going to be with family or out and about. So we'll see.
Yeah, speaking of I did think that they did a really good job marketing, though, to the holiday weekend. Like, normally things kind of hit a lull going into a holiday, but I thought that they really captured the audience quite well with actually approaching the subject of like the Thanksgiving dinner table and how are you going to sell people on it, or even I think I saw a screenshot of a flash promotion for referral bonuses, like it's like 48 hours over the next period of time. I thought that was a very good idea to try to incentivize people to refer and recruit over the Thanksgiving holiday.
What's going on, Dalton? I see you requested. Give him. How are you? Can you hear us? Well, we'll come back to him. Kronos is coming up here. But yeah, feel free if you have any questions or anything, request. We're just chatting, but would love to hear anything you want to talk about. So let us know.
In addition to that, the sorry, I just wanted to mention you've got to be on mobile to in order to speak. I'm pretty sure you can listen on PC, but you aren't able to speak. So if you want to hop up, just make sure you're on mobile.
Yeah, because we might just throw some microphones to the crowd to see who catches them and wants to speak.
I've been throwing some around.
Yeah, just rapid fire. Let's go. I want to hear some new voices. I see you, Star Lord. How's it going?
What's up, guys? How are you guys?
Doing really well. You snuck up here.
I know. Yeah, I wanted to talk because I saw Lenny was talking the other day about constantly trying to get SIM swapped, and so I was kind of just going to give my 2 cents from kind of an insider's perspective on that. I know everybody's trying to protect themselves, and I know Michael talks a lot about OPSEC, and so one of the things that I noticed yesterday is while I was at work, I was trying to think of points of attack for SIM swaps and everything. One thing that I found in my 7 years of working in the industry, when you create those accounts, they always have you type in, security PIN numbers. One thing I would recommend highly is write down a 10 to 15 digit PIN number that is completely random from anything you've ever used before. Store that as a hard copy somewhere, because typically those attack vectors from when people try to SIM swap is they'll guess passwords. They'll 100% just guess date of births, mom date of births, anniversary, stuff like that. So I would 100% try to think of a 10 to 15 digit number, write it down as a hard copy. I don't know, store it with seed phrases or anything you guys keep as a hard copy in your vaults or in your safes or something like that. And then there's a couple features specifically with T-Mobile you guys can turn on in the application if you guys have T-Mobile or not. It's called port protection. It's a free feature. Basically, once you enable it, in order to be able to port a number out from T-Mobile, you have to physically call in, verify that 15-digit number, and then they turn that feature off manually. It's not something that people can hack. It's not something that people can manually remove without having to call in and validate your information. And then one of the other things that I would recommend is have, with all of the carriers that you guys have, set a specific memo, have them set up to where they have to validate your social over the phone, or they have to validate that PIN number over the phone, or they have to not allow specific things to take place in store that may result in a SIM swap. I don't know if there's anything else that you guys had questions about, for carriers and stuff. I'd be more than happy to answer.
Yeah, and along those lines, recently too, I did speak with a couple of the mobile providers and have found that a lot of times you'll get stuck in this loop of call centers where perhaps you get people whose English isn't the best, and it's not a very common request at this point to either get yourself on. Port protection sounds like a pretty turnkey feature, but there's also the capability of having it so that you cannot SIM swap or port your line without physically going to one of their corporate stores and showing your ID and actually having your ID scanned. So that feature is a little bit harder to engage. And what I have been told by folks in the mobile providers themselves is that the easiest way to make sure that you get someone that knows how to do it and speaks English is to request to speak to loyalty. Because loyalty typically is going to be the higher priority, and you're more likely to get a domestic call center with someone that can understand the question and know how to do it.
Correct. I would 100% agree with that.
I got a question. Hey guys, new investor here. Pretty decent for a young person in VGX. But the talk that I've been, hearing is it possible for to list Voyager token on their trading app? Meaning, like maybe this year, is that could they factor? Because I know Shiba was to list there and they didn't go along with that. So just wondering, they could just go to GX and that rise the price all the way up. I would think. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, so I've actually seen a recent article saying Coinbase isn't looking to add any more cryptos this year, and they're also highly selective. They only want to get something that has a high demand. So not until maybe they produce a wallet.
No,
then.
Yeah, Pepe, you said Coinbase. Did you mean Robinhood?
I meant Robinhood. Sorry, I'm used to talking about Coinbase, but yeah, Robinhood.
So they're just waiting on.
Yeah, I don't see it coming.
Correct.
Well, that would just give you a way to hold it through them, but I wouldn't put Robinhood on a really soon thing. I wouldn't be banking on Robinhood.
And in terms of price, can we talk? In terms of price action for exchange listings and stuff, does anyone know what Robinhood might do in terms of price action? I know, basically, it doesn't get any better than what we just had with Coinbase, because historically, for any kind of price performance, theirs has performed the best. So I think we're doing pretty good on exchange listings and stuff as of late.
Yeah, the exchanges we got on, they're all the top dogs. So, I'm actually content with kind of how back to back we got them. That was so bullish for the price, and it just kind of compounded. But yeah, Johan, I see you. You got a question for us, my friend?
We're on all these exchanges now, but I don't know if anyone else is having the issue, but with buying and selling all on Voyager, I'm having difficult time of having to reload and close out the app and then reload multiple times to be able to buy and sell.
Are you setting
even being listed on this stuff? We need to be able to figure this out.
Are you setting like you can set the sell limit at something, or you're just trying to hit sell? You know what I mean?
I've hit sell multiple times on Bitcoin, other coins, and it'll sell it. Then I have to close the app out. Then it'll load the money into my USD, and then I can buy something else. And then I have to close the app out for it to even show that I even bought anything.
Yeah, everyone seems to have had that trouble past couple of days, so must be a little bug they're working through.
And I hope they work on that soon, because I don't have the issue with it because I'm all in, but for a new investor, this is not good.
Well, you want them to fix it before, for example, for me, I'm not trying to talk targets because not what people do, but originally I put VGX hitting $10. I've heard, it might hit 30, but you won't want to have that sell problem when that time comes to sell most of your profits, because we know in the bear market, things like a Bitcoin, like Ethereum, should drop about 80%, you know what I mean, for the most part.
I'm not even talking about when selling that. I'm talking about right now. Even if I have to buy VGX, like I bought 300 a day, I have to keep opening and closing the app to continue to use it. This is something we need to work on now, and I've emailed Voyager 2 different times, plus tried to reach out on Twitter. I'm just concerned with new investors. They're not going to go through this process as I am, or any of y'all are. Have y'all reached out to Voyager at all to try to get this bug fixed?
I personally, I haven't sold anything over the past few days, and I haven't personally experienced it, so I didn't know it was actually going on. But yeah, I'd absolutely just send emails, support tickets. But yeah, no, I agree. That's definitely it that needs to get fixed. Just not a good look at all. But I don't really have anything else on. If anybody else has anything.
I've noticed it a little bit as well, and I haven't done too many control tests, but when I was buying before this pump, I would sell USDC and wait, and it would show up eventually without changing screens or things like that. But I noticed when I would change screens or even close the app, it seemed to speed up the process. And in times when I tried to buy, and I thought it didn't go through, it actually went through. So I agree that there is some tinkering that needs to be done and that you're not alone. And I'm sure Voyager is aware of it.
I hope they are. I mean, it's not like I'm going to sell Voyager or anything. I just gonna be like, I keep on emailing and be like, hey, let's get this fixed, because I'm more worried about the new investor than anything else.
Yeah, we appreciate you hopping up to share that, because I've seen it too. And it can be frustrating, but I'm sure it'll get taken care of.
Kronos, did you have anything?
Yeah, guys, just a couple of two items that I have in mind. And when our teachers sometimes told us that there's no such a stupid comment, they lied. I might be making a stupid comment, but here we go. The first one is not so bad. We were addressing security and swing swaps and that sort of things, which are very valid concerns. A feature that I heard in one of the AMS that were held a couple months ago is that we have the ability to call Voyager and let him know that the only way that we can withdraw funds is if we call and we verify certain parameters from an ID perspective to make sure that they know that we are who we say we are. So that will probably be the ultimate way to secure our funds. So that's just something to ponder for people, because apparently that capability is there with the company, number one. Number two, I ponder about how can we bring more people into the ecosystem, into Voyager in itself. So I'm not sure if this community would be willing to consider the following option, such as if we see a new user, new investor, or somebody who is contributing to Voyager, if you will. It's not going to cost anybody anything, but perhaps there's a selected panel, perhaps Floki and a couple of other people that say, hey, this ID appears to be making a positive impact. So maybe that person whose impact is being positive, being viewed as positive, hey, what is your referral code? It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all of us as a team tweet it over the course of a day or whatever amount of time to build that person's to help to build that person's portfolio and to build goodwill and a goodwill from a community perspective. So those are the two items that came through my mind as you guys were talking. That's it.
I like the idea. As long as they're not navigators, I think anything navigator and above should not
I
do.
agree. I mean, I was just looking at people who are kind of like newer to the ecosystem, people that I think are actually positive people, because sometimes we'll see the fraudsters and that sort of thing, but you're completely correct. I mean, for people that are getting into it, to build a goodwill.
Yeah, no, I think that's and it that would really spark somebody's day, that them seeing that. So I agree, it'd be a great introduction.
Yeah, and even if people don't decide to use the referral code, the idea itself and just the positive reinforcement of saying, hey, we're putting this out there for you, that's it counts.
I'm trying to think maybe a clever way to initiate this. Maybe when we see new people post that screen that they've just achieved the adventurer tier, we could go with something like that. That would be the spark for one of us to just take a look into their profile. What have they been saying? Do we think they fit that positive that positive person that you're intending this for, and then go from there. So maybe we could ask everybody, just keep an eye out for new adventurers to potentially initiate this with. Might be a good idea.
Good thought.
There you go. Yeah, great points. Aldo, I see you hopped up here. Do you have anything for us, Michael?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on what I think Johan was talking about. He was asking if anyone was having difficulties with Voyager lately. I have been having some issues with them lately, and so I just felt compelled to say what's been happening. I've been having issues with transfers lately. I've been having transfer issues in and out that have taken days. I have submitted tickets, have not gotten ticket numbers at all back. Eventually, I just reached out to them discreetly through Twitter and DM'd them responsive to a point, and then they've ceased communication recently about like the last issue that I've had, which has been I had an incoming deposit, and that's 2 days now, and it's an issue because I'm moving stuff around and I want to consolidate on Voyager, and I'm trying to liquidate and trim some of my portfolio so that I can, buy and just basically operate on Voyager. And I went through the process, and I'm aware of it, and I went through it, and so when Johan was talking about like, does anyone have any issues with this? Yes, I have had issues with it, and I love Voyager. I do not I really don't want to dissuade anyone from using the app because I think it has the greatest UI and UX out there, but I think they need to step their game up in terms of some of the customer support. And I got money hanging out in cyberspace just waiting, and I need to deploy those funds. And so that's what I have to say about that. I don't know. Has anyone else experienced anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely hear you. It hasn't been recently. Everything's been okay for me recently, but I think it was back in May. I had some similar troubles where it was just longer delays than I was expecting. And I don't know off the top of my head the exact numbers as far as what they quote on for transaction times. I know some of them have like a 24-hour review or something like that.
Well,
But
Sun Tzu, to catch you up to
on
speed,
days.
Aldo and I chatted extensively, and I've chatted with many people in the community. It's been a prevalent issue, primarily starting last Friday, actually. So it's been a recent uptick in transfer time delays. So
gotcha.
Yeah, and I don't I spoke to Aragorn today about it because man, I love this community and I love Voyager, and I will never go out there and um I will never go spread bad news about Voyager, but if I'm hearing Johan ask a question about this, I'm going to be honest. Yes, there's some improvement. There's room for improvement here, and it's an issue. It is an issue, and I'm concerned with transfers right now because you know, it took them like me reaching out to them on Twitter in a DM, and they took care of the USDC. That took about like a day or so, 2 days for them to get that squared away, and then nothing for the other one. And you know, I'm just like, you know, I've got Bitcoin that I want to move in from other accounts to Voyager, and you know, I'm holding off, quite frankly, on making like any transfers at this point, because I don't have confidence at this point, because I still have, you know, my KNC just like floating around somewhere, and it's not hitting at all. And I can see it on Etherscan. Like I can literally see it on Etherscan. I can see it from whence I sent it, and I'm just like, okay, so I don't know. That's kind of frustrating.
I mean, it's good to be transparent. So I'd say, I'd say we definitely appreciate that. And there's nothing wrong with being open about what's going on. So, I can't say for sure what, if there's anything that we can do, but I know, that some of us that may have contacts or whatever, we can try to reach out and see if anything can be done. But we appreciate you sharing it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you hopping up here. Ross, how are you doing? All right, how are you? Mr. Bennett, how are you?
Oh, hey, if I'd be doing a whole lot better if I took myself off mute. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I am more than excited to be a part of this educational session. It's just truly amazing. Should have been here a lot sooner. But anyway, I want to target the 15th of the month and the 30th of the month, when new coins are delivered, or I like to call it a free airdrop. But what I wanted to know is there any type of computational forecast that anyone's using in terms of probably projecting what their coins are going to be against the dollar spin? I'm having a tough time understanding that improvement formula. Anybody using anything slick and dirty to kind of understand what their coin drops is going to look like on the 15th?
Are you in the Discord by any chance?
I'm not.
So then, StoneCold, can you? I'll find a tweet and pin it. But StoneCold is our resident numbers guy. He's done a ton of stuff for the community on this front. He's tweeted about it with a screenshot where he walked through the math on one. But he's created a Google sheet that will allow you to put in your trades and compute your cashback rewards so that you can know what to anticipate. So he both explains the formula to you and then wrote a nice little spreadsheet to help you calculate your whole projection for the month. So I'll try to figure out the best way to get it to you. If you do want to join the Discord, we've got a resources page there where all this stuff kind of sits in a repository, but we'll get it to you. And StoneCold, do you want to explain real quick how that math works for anybody else? I think there's plenty of people that, although you've tweeted about it, are still in that same boat. So maybe you could explain it.
Yeah, Taryn, I'll be happy to DM you the link to that sheet. But it's basically, you get your quoted price from Voyager when you set a market order, and then they shop the order around to all the different exchanges. And if there's any improvement, which if you're buying VGX, it's usually about 0.006 is about the average I found.
Okay.
Then you take that difference, and let's just use 0.006 for VGX, and you times that by the number of tokens you purchase. So if you bought 100 tokens, you times that by 0.006, and then times that by your navigator status. So it's either going to be 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
And that's how you calculate what amount of VGX you're going to be getting back.
Okay.
But yeah, we
Great.
have a Google sheet where you just enter in your numbers from your order, and it'll spit out what you get back. And at the end of the month, that's what you would expect.
Awesome. Thanks, StoneCold.
Or you
problem.
just pretend like it's your birthday and get surprised. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
Yeah, that's the boat I'm in. It's like, oh wow, shit, I bought more stuff than I thought.
Yeah, we would love for you to join our Discord. And if you want to do it live and let us know who you're thinking about choosing as a VGX hero, I'm always intrigued to what people are leaning towards picking. Who would you pick?
Probably DJ Crypto.
I'll let you think about that one a little bit. I look forward to seeing what you end up picking. Should be personal and fun though.
Okay.
Yeah, appreciate you hopping up here, my friend.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot like that. My bad, man.
It's all good. It's all good.
That was a good question. Thank you, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
StoneCold, you have something for us?
Yeah, one thing that this made me think about. So with the addition of Coinbase, we've seen the spread go from 5% to down to like 3.3%. And I've had about 2 VGX orders since that Coinbase edition. And I'm still getting the same 0.006 price improvement, even with the spread going from 5 to 3.3%. So that's pretty awesome. If anyone hadn't noticed that, I just want to make sure they got called out.
Oh, wow. No, I would have never noticed. That's actually super sick. Good to know. Appreciate that.
So if we've got nobody else up here right now, by all means, if you want to come up and speak or ask a question, come on up. But I think we'd be remiss, Pepe, if we didn't talk about this Bitcoin city that's on the horizon. Do you see that coming out?
Yeah, I looked into it a little bit, but I know you dug into it a lot more than me, so
yeah,
I could tag on if you want to get into it.
So it's just fascinating to watch what's going on down there. And I was in Miami when Jack announced really introduced Bukele to announce that they were going to put Bitcoin as legal tender in El Salvador, and that was crazy enough. But they just had a big adoption of Bitcoin summit in El Zonte to kind of celebrate. And while they were down there, they just introduced or announced that they would be creating a Bitcoin bond. And this idea actually stemmed from Max Kaiser. He floated it out there that, to reduce the country's dependence on the IMF, and so the IMF couldn't strong arm them for their operational liquidity that they need, that they should just go ahead and tap that volcano that they have down there and create Bitcoin mining operations and introduce a Bitcoin-backed bond, or a Bitcoin bond. So that's actually exactly what they did. And Bukele announced it's going to be a $1 billion bond that starts in 2022. Half of the billion is going to go straight towards buying Bitcoin. The other half is going to go towards infrastructure and mining. And they're going to tap the geothermal energy off the volcano to create a mining mecca in El Salvador. And then the infrastructure aspect of it is also going to build from scratch a Bitcoin city. And I think it's going to be called Bitcoin City. It's going to be round and built in the shape of a coin. They're going like hardcore, leaning into everything that they possibly can to make it as Bitcoiny as possible. But essentially, for anybody that invests in that bond, you could buy the bond in $100 increments, and it pays out a 6.5% coupon on a 10-year bond. And that's actually lower than your traditional bonds for El Salvador down there, because typically they're paying a 13.5% coupon. But they're all junk rated bonds, and they've got debt issues, so there's not always the assumption that you're going to get the full valuation on them. But with them being backed in Bitcoin, I think they're hoping that it attracts enough interest that people buy in. So basically the way the terms work is after the first 5 years, that Bitcoin that they're going to buy with the first $500 million is unlocked, and they're allowed to start to sell and liquidate some of that should they so choose. And then that additional any of the Bitcoin that they would sell after the 5-year mark essentially becomes an extra coupon towards the bondholders. So it's kind of like getting a Bitcoin dividend on the investment. while also making that investment in the infrastructure there. And the city's going to have 0% capital gains, 0% income tax, 0% property tax. It is going to be a completely, like, as sovereign as you could be in an authoritarian country. But let's just say for marketing purposes, it's going to be a sovereign city, and the only taxation within the boundaries of the city is going to be the equivalent of like a sales tax or value-added tax. It's going to be a 10% flat tax on money spent. But it's interesting. I mean, I'm not necessarily going to come out and support it. It's not like I'm packing up my wife and kids and moving there tomorrow. But it's an interesting step in that direction. And I'm not going to get into the politics of El Salvador because I'm not educated enough to speak on it with any degree of certainty. But they certainly seem to be taking some steps in hopefully the right direction. I know that there's criticism over the authoritarian buzzword that tends to get thrown around with them. But one thing that I do know about their political system is that the president only gets to run for one term, and effectively everything that they accomplish in that term either has to work well enough that the next people want to continue it, or they should expect that it's all going to just, live by the pen, die by the pen, and anything that they make can just as easily be unmade. So I think he's trying to make his legacy last, and he's using these 5 years to the fullest. And I've heard some stuff about him trying to get an extra term or possibly change election law, and that's where I don't know enough to get deep enough into that. But it is pretty cool, just conceptually at least.
Yeah, no, it's insane, but the initial buy they made, that from any investing standpoint, was genius. And it instantly, grew the wealth of the whole nation. And just now everybody getting, access to bank accounts without remittances being taken. It's just crazy. And if you're going to be the first to do it, might as well go all out. But the impact it has looking at other, third world countries or, struggling with debt type countries, like they see it working, they're a lot more likely to hop on board. And there's a lot in South America and a good section of Africa. So just interesting to see.
Yeah, sorry about that. I saw somebody was trying to pop up, and it doesn't look like it worked. But yeah, when it comes to South American currencies, I saw something just yesterday. It was like an art piece, but it was a frame picture of like Venezuelan bolivars, I think, and it was printed on there just the words that said this was cheaper to print on money than paper because their currency is so valueless at this point.
Yeah, that's just absurd. And then like the banks just locking up accounts and not being able to pull your money. It's just crazy, the difference.
Well, yeah, keep your eye on Turkey. Turkey's lira lost an absurd amount of its value just in the last week, and that's something that we want to touch on this at some point and probably get into it more in depth on another Spaces, not right before the holiday when everybody's just in a good mood. But at some point, we'd like to try to educate the community on dollar index and what that means and how to interpret it and understand it. But when you see some of these just overall market-wide downturns, take a look at the dollar index, because when you see the dollar index rocket up to 96.75 right now on the DXY, it's 4 days past the TD sell 9. It's way overrun to the upside. It's got separation from the moving averages that's absurd. It's flying way the hell above its Ichimoku cloud. But a lot of the pain that's been felt in the crypto markets, if you want to call it that, I think to a certain extent this was a healthy correction. We talked about this a week ago that we likely thought that we'd probably head this way, but that DXY is just running so freaking hot right now that if you don't understand its correlation to the other macro markets, it's worth a quick Google search and just a little self-study on that, because the dollar index is absolutely wreaking havoc on every other asset class at the moment.
Let's get a full conversation on that.
Nathan, I think we finally got you up here. What's going on, man?
Hey,
just wanted to say I finally made it to Navigator, so that's cool.
Congrats.
Yeah, and again, I had said before that I was getting some VGX Hero plates, and I really hope so. If the DMV lets you go through, and they didn't tell me it wasn't available, but hopefully it is. But when I get them, I'll post them on my car and let everybody see. And then just another, I was just curious, now that I am a Navigator and I grinded since March, February of last year to get there. Is there a new coin, something that maybe has some potential that someone's pretty strong about that they recommend kind of getting into besides like Bitcoin, Ethereum, like this new sand? Does anybody know anything about that? Mana,
So I would say of the panel, I'm the most knowledgeable about Mana and the sandbox. I do own land in Mana. So I would say kind of what's your question? So how their tokens work, I guess.
No, I'm just asking like for another token that somebody's kind of interested in that maybe I should partake in potentially, because sand just landed. I seen it was pretty hot. I didn't know if it's a good one to think about.
I would say metaverse plays have ran really hot. I think it's up something like 15,000% on the year. So I personally wouldn't be looking to get into any of the metaverse plays right now. I try to,
Gotcha.
I would let them cool off. That's not financial advice, me just talking.
Sure.
But personally, the other coins I'm invested in is AVAX, but that's pretty ran up too. So it's not the best area really to be buying that. We have a lot of people that really like H bar. But I don't really have a you should buy this coin.
I got you. No, I've been looking at all the same ones. I see everybody's tweets, and CKB is another one that people are pretty strong about. Just kind of wanted to know if somebody had any hot information on something.
Well, Polygon's about to run right now.
Yeah. So I'll probably get into something, but I just wanted to say hi, guys. I've only been with you guys since October on Twitter, but I've been buying, for a long time, and never had a Twitter. I don't have Facebook, and I had to learn some things. But I appreciate all your guys' assistance. You guys are, kind of like a family, so pretty cool that way. But I just appreciate everybody and wanted to thank you.
Yeah, good to hear from you, my friend. Thanks for hopping up here and saying some words. We love talking to new people and people we haven't gotten to talk to yet. So good to hear from you.
Thanks. You guys have a good one.
Much respect to you, Nathan. For real, you joined during the downtrend, which always has respect from me. And you're an OG, even though you joined in October. You're an OG because you're born in the trenches like us, and we appreciate you. You're talking about things that are heating up. And we mentioned the cool off from the metaverse. Makes me think about Luna a little bit and how much we anticipate has that cooled off and when that will turn around. I'd say keep an eye on Luna. Yeah, curious what the panel thinks.
I would kind of lean towards, if I had to say one, Link. I think it's prime. They have, it's a very well-known coin. It's been pinned down. I think it's ready to pop bad because it hasn't got any of this latest pump. Like even Dot got a good bit of a pump there in the beginning, and AVAX. So I think it's time's coming.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much for the advice, guys, and I'll be on here listening. I'll let you guys continue on.
Appreciate it, my friend. Mark, how are you?
His name's Chewy. What up, Chewy?
My bad. I can't do the voice.
What up? What up? I was just gonna try to do it, but I don't think it was gonna work.
No, please.
Hello. Good morning to all.
Good morning. How are you?
So what you got, Mark?
I don't know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, good to see you up here.
Always nice hanging out with Chewy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
I'm wondering what will happen first, the Bitcoin city being finished, or we're all living in the metaverse.
Mike, what's the timeline on Bitcoin City?
Well, the bond goes live in 2022, but I think I saw something about shovel ready for 2023. Who knows? I mean, it's at this point, it's more of an idea than I think an actual reality. But we'll have to see. Who knows?
What's
I
Bitcoin
would
City
okay. I
exactly?
would roll with majority of, or like a significant percentage of Americans use a metaverse daily.
Maybe the Bitcoin city will be like the hub for metaverse, and like everyone there is just going to be plugged in at all times.
Those two things could
That's
not
called
be
meta.
more diametrically opposed from one another. Good luck. Good luck selling Bitcoin maxis on fucking tokenized Roblox.
100%. I was like, I was about to say America is going to be the hub of, and Meta is going to be the hub of the metaverse for the majority.
It's going to be interesting. We're going to see a bunch of different worlds. And what's curious to me is if we're going to be able to bridge between all of these different metaverses, meta planets or whatever. It's really getting crazy when you're going to start seeing these full immersion business rooms. So I could imagine a business that comes into your house and you just turn your spare bedroom into a full-on immersion center just to be completely dialed in, both physically and visually, for the full body experience. It's coming.
Yep, and it's just the battle on like picking who the winner should be, because obviously Meta should not win, but they're going to come in guns a-blazing, pulling all the normies from Facebook, like dropping a, hey, click this, and they just pop in the metaverse instantly type stuff. So it's getting a, as decentralized, tokenized way to do it, rather than a centralized company controlling it.
I was thinking about that idea where, kind of like in Ready Player One, you have this set up so that you can actually feel like you're moving around in the metaverse. And I was thinking, it kind of popped into my head because I was trying to think, okay, what could a company like Peloton that was super hot and is just down in the dirt right now do that would put them back on top? And I think a pivot like that for them, or whoever actually like figures out how to do that, and they seem like they would be the kind of company that would fit well with. That's going to be an amazing stock if you can find it early enough.
Well, it's 100% Tony Gazelle freestyle. That's the obvious choice.
I haven't heard of that. I got to check it out though.
Remember Tony Gazelle? Oh my God, he was the guy. He had the long ponytail, and it was like this like running machine. Oh man, it was an infomercial classic.
Oh geez, I missed out.
I see the vision too, Winter Soldier. I see it.
Generational Wealth, how are you, my friend?
What's up, guys? Glad to be with some heroes. I need to change my I got on the NFT kit for a little bit. I need to change back to my original VGX hero, Donatello. We'll be doing that soon. I love you. I love you guys. I've been around watching, listening to all you guys for a while, but yeah, not to take away from VGX, but as far as the metaverses and stuff, I've been hearing actually there's projections by 2030 that there will actually be 60 million different metaverses as we get the opportunity, or let's call it opportunity. I don't know if it's good, bad. There's always pitfalls to everything, but to create our own, as we're already seeing like inside Sandbox or Decentraland and stuff like that. Snoop Dogg already has his own world inside Decentraland and stuff. So it's funny actually to watch, because I was watching a thing on how actually Facebook is relatively, we'll say, quote unquote, late to the game. Granted, I mean, they have the mobility through money to bring on developers and such, but I've heard everything from bringing in like by 2030, 8K, though, we have 4K right now, but 8K on the horizon in order to, if we can move quicker, faster, things like that through these metaverses in order to render all these details that will be on the verge coming out. So it's just some trippy stuff, but just want to say what's up, guys. Love y'all. Glad to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you popping up. And it's like the deeper you get into the metaverse, it's crazier it gets. And then just the theories, because it could go any number of ways. Like a mass adoption of a metaverse could destroy a civilization's like work. I don't know. You're opening Pandora's box messing with it, because naturally people are addicted to like stimulants, and that's going to be the ultimate. You be who you dream you could be, living the whatever lifestyle you choose, and so that's just going to be an easy way out for majority of Americans. I feel like theoretically down the line.
Well, yeah, I think like for Americans, it's a whole different ball game. But I do believe that when Bitcoin originally started out, they found immediately the pitfalls, and so the pitfalls are coming to rise real quick as far as like increased screen time and things like that. But globally, as the metaverses create a new global economy, I think this is one of the most grandeur ways to bring some of these third world nations, these third world people out of poverty. And I like to. I'm a optimist by nature, so that's my take on things. Obviously, there's going to be some crazy dark stuff revolving around it, but I also know that there is some fascinating and tremendous opportunity for people that never got the advantages like I do, as far as just for one living in America, but just some of that stuff. So I really want to look. I do on the bright side of things. So I think there's a lot to offer. Going to be some dark people, shady people, things we never even can fathom right now. But it's cool to be around. It's fun. It's fun. It's a fun time to be alive.
Absolutely, and that kind of came off negative, but I mean, I own a piece of decentraland, and I'm big into the metaverse, and it really fascinates me. But I think play to earn coins. Or games, that's what's going to help a lot of. I mean, already with what was it, Taiwan? Those bring so much value to literally the poorest places. So that's the Axie Infinity. What it did to a lot of people's lives is incredible. But you can go ahead, everyone.
Yeah, on that topic, I'd love to have a discussion on like the Bitcoin wallet side of things. That idea of kind of currency giving people a chance, and that especially lower income families, and then what we're seeing in some areas of the world with the play to earn and kind of that financial empowerment there. Like, do you see like one kind of prevailing more than another? Is it just going to be pick your flavor? I just love a discussion from both sides of things: the Bitcoin wallet side, and then play to earn.
In theory, I think both can or could do it. They both. It's just I think the Bitcoin wallet side is a lot harder for people that don't understand banking and things. Like, I feel like it's a hard transition. So I think play to earn games is going to be an easier entry for mass adoption, but I don't know, Bitcoin wallet at the same time is game changing for countries that struggle to get bank accounts. But I'd love to hear Michael's opinion.
Well, I mean, having spent some time with Mike Peterson and talked to him about it when he was getting Bitcoin Beach started in El Zante, like before this whole legal tender thing broke out, he explained to me the early days of how they got any adoption whatsoever, and it was basically gamifying it and teaching it to the kids. So they would teach it to the kids in the community, and then they would find that it would trickle its way upward into the heads of household and into the families. So I do think that coming at it from a banking perspective is probably the harder ask, but it's also not impossible, and there are ways of gamifying it So it's just a matter really of how people get introduced to it. I even saw, like, for example, today Fold went live with their augmented reality game, which is basically like fucking Pokemon Go, where you can use your phone and go out in an augmented reality world and find stacks of sats out there. So you can earn Bitcoin by playing this Pokemon Go equivalent of a metaverse game built on Lightning. So I mean, they are fairly different and oftentimes opposed, but there are ways that there are some spots where this Venn diagram does overlap in terms of the gamification of things to facilitate adoption. I think it's where they differ the most is on what the end game is. It's just Bitcoin is not going to see the metaverse or the gamification as like the substantive aspect of it, whereas some of these coins that exist in the metaverse space or anything along those lines, the monetized asset is the gamification, whereas Bitcoin, it's more kind of the opposite, where the gamification may be a way of getting people to understand the monetized asset or the store of value.
Yeah, great answer.
So there was a couple things that came to mind when Donatello was speaking, especially about like the third world country enhancements. I think it was Ajax on YouTube who had mentioned what the VR capabilities will do for the disabled community. And all the things that they're going to be able to experience that they can't currently. So that was just one thing that came to mind. The second, not quite off topic, but it brings to mind, I want to say maybe 15, 20 years ago, when my friends and I would go to the mall, because we didn't have like the best computers and stuff, and there was a place called the PC Gaming Arena, the PCGA, and it was basically a LAN center where we'd go and play Counter-Strike and all these other games. And I'm curious, if that's something that
where
would
you
be
from?
profitable. Huh?
I used to do the same shit. Where are you from?
I live in New England, Connecticut.
Yo, I live in Connecticut.
Yo, get
I
out of
live
here.
in Manchester. You went to Buckland Hills Mall?
Ah, what?
You bugging? Where are you from? With who? Eddie?
Oh.
Eddie was the owner, right?
I can't remember. I don't remember the owner.
Bro, I used to go there all day long. Remember they had that full day? You go one full day for a month?
That was the spot.
That's funny.
Wow.
It's a small world, right?
So
Friends.
the PCGA
Live. It happens live.
So I'm wondering, if that's something that these corporations or individuals, if they're going to set something up where, whether it's the future of like esports or whatever, they're going to have these places where people can go if they can't necessarily afford all the equipment themselves, or even if they can, if they bring their own, or I don't know. I don't know how it would work, but I'm just seeing this in my mind where you can all congregate in one place and the company hosts whatever metaverse you're in or whatever. That, I don't know, that's just something I was thinking about, that and the disabled community. So you can go off of that.
No, I love that you spoke about this. I'll be honest to say, like, crypto has made me or turned me into an entrepreneur. It's something that I've always wanted to do. And, I was able to step away from my 9 to 5 just 3 months ago or so. But I believe, that was one of the entrepreneurial aspects. And, we should all hopefully, whether you want to or not, or just, keep things in mind. That's one way I can see it going. And so I've also considered that, like, yeah, just VR AR arenas or whatever it may be, where even you can, I've thought about it, like bringing people to more or less some of these play to earn tokens, which a few of them I'm involved in, and some of them, yeah, some of them not so good, but you got to find the right ones. But you more or less, they can probably pay a flat fee to come in or whatever it may be, and then you can have them do the playing of sorts, and then actually cut them a percent as they walk out the door for basically having the screen time for you. So like both parties benefit in a weird way. It's I don't know. I've just thought about many different things, but that's just one aspect. But trying to build a business on my own, something I've never done, and so it's cool just the way crypto has evolved my mind. And I know I can watch it and I see some of you guys post, and just I know y'all squirrel brains out there like myself are thinking of plenty of things here and there. So more power to you guys. Just keep growing. Don't let crypto or your investment be your end game. Like, go beyond it, find the potential, the willingness inside yourself to create something bigger than just the fact that you laid some money in something and it's taken off. That's my biggest thing I'd like to add.
Yeah, thanks for hopping up here. But congratulations to stepping into like becoming an entrepreneur. That's awesome. Love to hear stories like that. I'm right there with you.
My mind is still just blown right now that Chewbacca just randomly hops up to speak, and we probably used to call each other horrible things playing Counter-Strike at some point.
Yeah, when you were talking, I'm like, what? I went to go click my mic button. Like, what?
I'm gonna DM you later. We gotta figure this out.
Yeah, right.
I'm telling you
Yeah.
guys, crypto Twitter magic exists. It's real.
I can totally agree with you. Crazy stuff happens, but I think we're gonna start wrapping it up for the night. Cut it a little short, everybody. On the holidays. So yeah, if anybody wants to give a final remark.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy freaking Thanksgiving. And I wish you all the best luck at the dinner table making your pitch. And there's always going to be next year, too, because Voyager ain't going anywhere. So strength and honor, everybody. It was great hanging out.
Later, guys. Love you. See you.
Later, guys.
And this was recorded, and it's gonna be on Crypto Airborne's YouTube channel. So check it out there if you missed it or want to watch anything. Aragorn, you got anything?
Yeah, it's just gonna be timestamped, so hopefully y'all can understand my handwriting.
All right, Sun Tzu.
Thanks everybody for coming out. Who was it? it was the dude. Do not trade under the influence of tryptophan. That's his non-financial advice.
All right, well, I'm headed out. Everybody have a good night. Enjoy the holidays. See y'all next week.
Yep. Invite all your friends to the Discord. Share the link. Fun stuff. Make more friends.
Good night, Irene.